Hello everyone, my name is Holden Hardman. Thank you so much for joining us again for another video. Today, my friend Matt is going to watch the new It Chapter 1 for the very first time. I'm so happy that we have Prime joining us again. It's been a little while. I think the last video you did was Endgame, so it's good to have you back.
Good to be back. Happy with all my friends, drinking some really hot coffee.
It is based off of Stephen King's novel. There was I think it was a made-for-TV movie that had John Ritter and a couple other people in it. Tim Curry did a fantastic job. So I remember when it was first coming out in theaters, the remake, I was really curious to see how they were going to do the clown because Tim Curry's role in that had sort of become iconic. This movie I saw in theaters scared the crap out of me. I thought it was a very, very good horror movie. Jenna is not thrilled. She's already drinking.
Is this the movie with all the memes with the clown and the storm drain?
Yes. Yeah. So it's gonna be good. Pastor, have you seen this already before?
Bro, we saw it in theaters together, my guy.
Okay, let's just cut that part out. Oh, okay, well good, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Jeremy, as somebody who's familiar with the made-for-TV version, how did you feel in comparison with this one?
It is like one of those probably unadaptable movies. As far as everything that's in the novels, it's just so much weird stuff. So going into it, I heard it was gonna be a more traditional or more true take on the source material, and I was concerned, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh man, that's a lot. When I was going in to watch it, I had a little bit of apprehension. I don't want to bury the lead, but I feel like they did a pretty good job with it, so I'm excited to check it out and see what everybody else thinks about it.
Prime, have you seen It Chapter 1, and what did you think about it if you did?
Yes, I had, and I don't want to obviously spoil anything for Matt, but I was interested going into seeing it versus the 1990 version, expecting that. They chopped it and did it differently. Very interesting.
Jenna, this will be the first actual, intended to scare you horror movie, so what do you think going into it?
I can't even watch the previews on Netflix for their scary movies. Like the previews I can't get through on Netflix, which I guess aren't that scary of movies on Netflix. I'm really worried about this. This hopefully will help.
Matt, what about you going into it? What are you thinking?
First of all, good to see you. Congrats on the 100,000.
Thank you.
Two things. Holden texted me, and basically it's like, hey, Friday night, we're like, hey, what are we going to be watching this weekend? And you're like, we're going to be watching it, Chapter 1 and 2. And I was like, the movie's called Chapter 1 and 2? Also, please, out of respect for Evil Dead, is there any context that I might possibly need? From now on, I am going to ask for that context.
Aside from it being a novel from Stephen King, I wouldn't say it's a remake, but it is an adaptation of that book. There was a made-for-TV movie in the 90s that had gained some decent following.
Are you familiar with Stephen?
He's a writer, right?
Yeah, he's a horror writer.
That's all I know. Family Guy did a little skit.
Matt's knowledge of pop culture
And books.
history and all of that all comes from Family Guy, just as a basis.
Got a
of
vast
Matt's
knowledge.
I guess if there's anything you need to know, as you mentioned just now, there's a chapter 1 and 2. This isn't a original and then a sequel in a traditional sense. These are both parts of the same story. The book covers both chapters 1 and 2. We're watching the first half of the book today.
Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate it.
I was looking at my analytics and I saw that 52% of the people that watch us regularly are not subscribed to the channel.
What the
So,
hell?
if you've been watching for a while, I think now would be the perfect time for you to do us all a favor, go ahead and hit subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Love you guys. Today's video is also sponsored. So we're gonna talk about our sponsor and we'll get into the movie. Today's video is sponsored by Exter Wallets. They have sponsored me in the past and I'm so happy that they are sponsoring me again. This is actually a wallet that I use myself and I absolutely love it. It is slim, stylish, and safe. I've been using my classic black Parliament wallet wrapped in premium leather. It's what I took with me to Disney because I get really paranoid about digital pickpockets. You know how you can wirelessly pay for stuff by just placing your card on the little card reader instead of actually inserting it? Super convenient, but also makes it so that somebody can walk up to you within a certain range and steal your information if they have the right tools. But you don't have to worry about that with these because these are RFID protected. It's like this secure little barrier around your cards. Stressed about losing it because it's so lightweight you almost forget it's there at all. No worries, my guy, because these come with a freaking GPS tracker that works all over the world. Solar powered to last between 2 to 3 months, though in my experience it has lasted well over 4 months, but that's just me. And don't even get me started on the quick card access. You press this button and your cards come right out. It also reminds me of those fidget cubes and fidget spinners because I find myself constantly just pressing it and closing it all day. The button's still good, but I'm certainly putting it to the test. They also just sent me their brand new aluminum card holder made from space grade aluminum. And it's one of those things you can tell it's high quality just by feeling it. Now I know what you're thinking. Holden, I'm not about to drop some mad stacks, my hard-earned money, on some admittedly good products, but I know that they're gonna be pricey. My guys, I've got you. I laid down the law with these guys. I said I'm not saying anything about these high-quality, stylish, and innovative products unless it's worth it to my viewers. I don't get out of bed for less than 20% off for my viewers. So I argued and fought with these corporate bigwigs, and we agreed for 25% off using the link below. That's actually not true. They were very sweet and a pleasure to work with and wonderful people. They were actually really generous and super cool, and I hope that you check them out. These new space grade aluminum wallets are brand new. They come in a few different colors. I really like my black Parliament one. I like the leather that comes with it, but this aluminum one does have like a unique feel to it. It's super lightweight and slim and very stylish. And guys, they have free shipping, free 12-month warranty if anything goes wrong, like with the little button. Now that's a deal so good that it's scary. It's October, or, you know. Can you tell I write these ads myself? The link will be in the description below and in a pinned comment. Supporting the sponsors helps support the channel, and you'll look so stylish while doing so. It's worth at least going down there and checking out, and I hope that you do that. Now, let's get back to the video. Oh, it's all coming back to me. Oh God. One of my coping mechanisms is to talk, so I'm sorry.
Turn the flashlight on.
All right. She's all ready, Captain.
She?
You know what's called boat she. Hiya, Georgie.
Oh, he doesn't seem so bad, guys.
Okay. Little bit of a twist. Are any animals harmed in this movie? Not like legit, but portrayal.
I don't remember. I don't think so. Oh, I was wrong.
You sons of...
Hey Eddie, these are birth control pills? Yeah, and I'm saving it for your sister.
Your hair is winter fire, January embers. My heart burns there too.
Alright, things are getting random feeling. A lot happening.
Get off me! Get off me! Help!
You're gonna carve my whole name onto this cottage cheese!
Glad I got to meet you before you died.
Derry's not like any town I've ever been in before. People die or disappear 6 times the national average.
Who ran that study?
Yeah.
What college ran that study?
Derry started as a beaver trapping camp.
Still is, am I right, boys?
This movie is random as hell, man.
They purposely kept him away from all the kids, so when he showed himself, that's the first time the kids have ever seen the guy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
If you want a woman to fall in love with you, feed her poetry. Never fails.
The hell's that from?
Spider-Man 2.
Oh God.
Georgie, you're creeping me out. Hello, Georgie. All right, that's pretty good. Don't do that. I feel like cleaning up a crime scene almost. All right, guys, let's do it. Let's get this done.
I saw Georgie. It seemed like him, but there was this...
The clown.
Oh my God. Oh!
Nice.
So racist.
I love how Pennywise is like an afterthought in this movie.
My grandfather thinks this town is cursed. He says that all the bad things that happen in this town are because of one thing. We all saw something different. Or maybe it knows what scares us most, and that's what we see.
I saw...
Everywhere it happens, it's all connected by the sewers.
outside.
If you say it's summer one more fucking time. What happens when another Georgie goes missing? Are you just gonna pretend it isn't happening like everyone else in this town? So walking into this house, it's easier than walking into my own.
He didn't stutter once.
Ooh!
This isn't real enough for you, Billy. I'm not real enough for you. It wasn't real enough for Georgie.
We were all together when we heard it. That's why we're still alive.
Yeah? Well, I plan to keep it that way.
Some good stuff happening here.
What the hell's going on here?
Oh. Okay.
Ain't nothing like a little fear to make a paper man crumble.
Ooh. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Dad's abusive as hell. Okay. Oh, holy crap, what a great plan, Beverly.
Oh, God.
Everything stemming from home. Holy crap.
Yeah.
You know what these are? They're gazebos!
I'm not afraid of you. Why isn't she waking up? What is wrong with her?
Maybe true love's kiss.
I knew it. I was just about to say that.
What took you so long? I miss you. I want to be with Mom and Dad.
I'm gonna have to shoot you in the head.
But you're not Georgie.
What if that really was Georgie?
Welcome to the Losers Club, asshole!
Now you're the one who's afraid.
Fear.
Swear, if it isn't Dad, we'll come back too.
Wash my face in the gray water.
All right, just finished watching It Chapter 1. I actually really enjoyed this time around. I don't know if it's because we all watched it together and were able to kind of crack jokes to help relieve some of the tension, because I get scared of horror movies, straight up. I really liked it. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Prime, you want to go first? Tell us what you thought about it.
I've only seen it once, and that was in theaters. I actually went and saw it. I was expecting a lot of the same premise as the 1990 version. This one blew me away. It just flowed a lot better, I feel, going between the fear and the comedic moments. And I love the writing, just the banter between the kids. It seemed natural. So I did like that aspect of it. Tim Curry's It is iconic, right? But William Skarsgård did an amazing job. This one actually a lot more frightening. I don't think there's a moment in the movie that I felt stale, and it concluded like Matt having the questions earlier, like, oh man, what's all these stories? What's all this stuff coming to? And then how it all winds up together at the end, just great. So I did enjoy it.
I agree. I think that the kids had like a really natural dynamic among them. We talked earlier, just amongst ourselves, about how we all felt that the child actors were really, really good, and that's something that's hard to do. I think have really good kid actors, but I think that they were all fantastic. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on It Chapter 1?
Introducing all these characters and subplots, what's even going on, you know what I mean? It is such a good coming of age story. The performances are all excellent. The Losers Club, Holden's 100% right. It seems like it would be a very challenging task for a director to pull really emotional performances out of kids that are between, I don't know, 11 and 14 or whatever, however old they are. It's such a good drama. The interactions, the character work, all the groundwork laid for these children, perfect. Bill Skarsgård does an excellent job as Pennywise. It's a really good performance. To what Prime was saying, the thing about clowns is they're supposed to be alluring, right? Like, that's the thing about Pennywise, is he draws children in by being a symbol of innocence. This Pennywise is just straight up menacing. Like, there is no kid that's gonna approach that version of Pennywise. So I like the performance. I do feel like it kind of switches back and forth between the clown and whatever the kids are afraid of for next to no reason. Like, he's the leper, he dips around the corner, he comes back, now all of a sudden he's the clown again. I don't really know what the narrative purpose of that is, but it doesn't matter that much because this is a really strong movie. If I have one critique, it's that the sound design tries to do so much heavy lifting and there's so much special effects in the movie that it gets to be like the set pieces are a little too big and bombastic instead of just letting it kind of play out in a way that's more naturalistic. Every time Pennywise comes on the screen, the editing goes and the music goes and he runs at you and then it like cuts away. So the horror stuff, unfortunately for me, does not live to the level of the drama stuff, but it's a very good film.
I agree with that too. I get scared at stuff, but it's mostly like, wow, they got me again, as opposed to like, oh my god, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sleep tonight. I really like the relationship between the kids. Most of what I'm talking about isn't even about Pennywise the clown. I just like seeing the kids like hanging out. I really like stuff like The Goonies. I like Super 8, it's one of my favorite movies. So I like seeing that type of thing. It's like a group of neighborhood kids on bikes trying to solve a case. Stranger Things, which he's even in Stranger Things as well. Pastor, what about you? We saw this together. I remember just like it was yesterday. What did you think about watching it again?
Just like the original, the made-for-TV version, the first half was more memorable for most people that watched it. I think the novel carried the same general consensus on that regard, but I'm not going to cover what you guys said because you guys are all absolutely correct. All the performances and everything. The chemistry with the kids, I think, would not have worked if it wasn't for Finn Wolfhard. Is that his name? If it wasn't for him, I think he was definitely the glue. I think he's the most seasoned out of all of them. Not to get too meta, because I did watch behind the scenes on the movie and heard about what the kids went through and everything, making it as far as like keeping them away from Pennywise. But I think just as an actor, he was what kept them going, because the movie was not about Pennywise, really. It was about them and like Jeremy said, the coming of age of it. The movie definitely works better this time around. The made-for-TV movie, I think, had a lot that didn't help it. I think the fact that it was made for TV based on a source material that's so dark and so visceral as this, they couldn't really explore it as much as this one did. There's a bunch of scenes, the homage to the werewolf, the nun, all that stuff could not have been done because of the time, because of the CG, and also because of just the way people rated movies. It would never work. This movie, like Jeremy said, it's not a really good horror movie as far as scaring me. Jump scares to me are not what makes a horror movie, because it doesn't leave a lasting feeling. You know, when you leave, you're not like, I'm afraid to go to my house now because of that. So in that regard, it didn't deliver, but the movie was overall amazing. I love it every time I watch it. I haven't seen it since it came out in theaters, so I really enjoy this movie, and I'm eager to see what we all think about Chapter 2, because that's going to be really interesting.
I like what you said about Finn Wolfhard being like the glue that keeps it together. I think we kind of all relate to one of those kids a little bit more. I really like the kid with the cast and like all the health issues. I thought he was hilarious, whereas like Finn Wolfhard's character was like purposely like, there's always that kid that's in that group that always just makes a sex joke when, you know, we're like, okay, come on. I really like the kid with the cast and stuff. And I thought Georgie's brother, what's his name in the movie? Bill. I thought that he was fantastic. I thought that he was wonderful. Jenna, since this is the first one that's like attempting to scare, and you've had the most reservation when it comes to horror this month. What did you think about Chapter 1?
I did not anticipate saying this as a reaction, but what a great story. It was about, I mean, besides the Pennywise like scary parts, it was about friends sticking together, overcoming their fears. They each had their own version of Pennywise, their own version of their own fear, and they all, you know, they had their struggles as a friendship, but they stuck together, and that's when they overcame all of their fears. I think it's a really great storyline. I was not as terrified as I thought I was going to be. I think watching it in the morning with friends with the lights on and a little bit of liquid courage helped me watch this and not be totally scared. I don't think I'm going to have like nightmares about it like I thought I was going to, and now I finally understand all the memes with the clown coming out of the storm drain. I'm overall pleased.
All right, and lastly, Matt, what did you think about It Chapter 1?
I'm glad to say that I did not dislike this movie. In all honesty, it just feels good to actually like a movie that we're watching. I gotta tell you though, I really, really agree with every word that Jeremy said. I totally agree with that. But when I think of a horror movie, I'm definitely like, I'm afraid. I'm scared, whether it be jump scare. Like you said, it doesn't necessarily have to be jump scares, but it really invokes fear. Michael Myers gets me every time.
Really?
Because it is so basic. It's a guy walking around murdering the hell out of everybody with a knife. That's it. So when I see things like this, where they're like floating and there's a bunch of teeth and just like almost like magic powers and whatnot, that doesn't get me. But this movie was so much more, like we said, about the kids, about their fears, about sticking together, and I really, really appreciated that. I did not see that coming. I think you could almost take a Pennywise out of this and just have left the fears, and I think it still would have been a great movie. The boys that were bullying the other kids, like, I don't know, I think that's just really important to talk about. You guys know how I am with that, the message behind that. When they had the strength and like the courage to stand up to them and then start stoning them, that was great. When I saw the loss of control that Beverly had because of her dad and like the obvious misconduct, the sexual misconduct, like that really, that hit me. I will say this took a while for everything to come together. It felt like it took a minute, and I was lost at certain points, which isn't saying much for me, but I did feel lost in the beginning. It did come together very well, but it took a minute. Whenever he said, walking into this house is easier than walking into my own home, huge moment, like such a huge growth point for him, and like you could really see his bravery start. And you know, to clarify, bravery is not being without fear. Bravery is facing fear, even though you are afraid, you are going forth. And like, you could really see him just become fed up with the entire situation. She said, I want to run towards something, not away. I don't know, that was just, those were good moments. Like when he went down the stairs that first time to go after Pennywise, like that's where I really saw the change for him. And then after that, when he punched his friend with the glasses, I feel like that was a spillover of his aggression, and still like let's do this. His friend just sort of got in the way. I actually enjoyed that. Sucks for his friend. I really felt for the bullies, actually. I hated it that old mullet boy, ultimately he, you know, had a downfall. No pun intended. I hated it that it, you know, it sort of captured him, because it really wasn't his fault. It was his upbringing. And a lot of these kids, it was their upbringing. That sucks, because that's so true. And that's why that hits home, because I know that that's very accurate. When Bill, when he was crying over the yellow jacket found at the end, like that was very symbolic of acceptance. That was good to see. It's like, you know, a leaf is turned over. There's so much here. Mentally. Basically all of them were learning to cope with their fears through bravery, so it was a very recurring thing. Again, I think Pennywise is just sort of an afterthought in this. So a few of the things felt like it missed the mark, but overall, really good film, and I didn't see that coming.
The part with that you brought up about the bullies is very, very true. Pretty much in every single case, whether you have bullying, especially that severe, usually stems from some home life. Despite that, it's never okay to bully kids, especially to the severity. Prime, why don't you kick us off here? What would you rate this out of 10?
Yeah, overall movie, I'm right there, like 8.5. Great movie. Horror movie, a little bit lower, just because of what we all talked about and how well it flowed. The only personal issue I had with it was its own call-outs of when events happen, and it's like, I like that subtlety, but they straight up said, like when Bill wasn't stuttering anymore, walking into the house, they called it out, you know. Great movie, so 8.5 is where I'm leaving it.
Jeremy, what about you?
Yeah, Matt, would you say that bullies getting stoned and dads getting hit over the head with ceramic backs of toilets is justified torture?
Out of pure survival, yes. Out of pure survival, yes. If you have the ability to sort of work through this, then it's very unfortunate. However, yes, I mean, if you know, if homeboy's got a gun to your head, then I'm sorry, bully, you're going down.
I wouldn't say like what they did was like torture. Like if Beverly like strung up her father and was like, all right, now we're gonna play a game. Might be a little bit different, but I feel like most of that was just self-defense, you know, and I feel like self-defense is justified in those cases.
Good question.
It was really more of a rhetorical question, but I appreciate the insight. Well done. Yeah, this is a movie that really does exist in two different worlds, right? The horror elements of it might fall a little bit short, but all of the stuff that Matt touched on is very valid. I think the best horror movies are explorations of fear and grief and very human things that everybody experiences, and horror is a really interesting outlet for that. It's not always done well, but the best ones are able to explore those kind of themes and do it very well. I think on a scale of 10, I'm gonna give it Chapter 1 an 8 out of 10.
Pastor, what about you? What would you rate it?
Going off the theme of the 2 rating thing, as far as a horror movie, like Prime said, didn't really scare me. It did in the theater. I think it had a huge impact in the theater. It was very quiet, very dark, very loud. So yeah, it was very scary when I was in the theater. But still, overall, a great movie. The kids drove it home for me. I would probably give this like a 7.5 to an 8.
Jenna, what about you?
I agree with what most everyone else has said. It kind of made me feel like a Sandlot vibe with a couple little jump scares in there with Pennywise. I'd give it an 8.
Yeah, I hear what everyone's saying. I really liked it. For me, probably be in the same ballpark as Pastor with about a 7.5. I can see why, especially upon rewatching it, they really lean into those horror moments when they're happening on screen, but the movie as a whole definitely feels like it's a story about friendship and a story about buddies. I don't know how I would say, like, as far as like horror goes. I feel like there are some movies that focus more on like the kind of like the atmospheric feeling of like dread throughout. They want you to, like a movie like The Witch, where it's just like you just feel it the whole time. This one kind of had some relief. There's some comedy. They're swimming in the lake and we're happy, and then, you know, we're seeing horrible things. So I really liked it. 7.5 for me. Matt, what about you?
Holden, that's a good point. You're right. There was relief at times, and I think that I actually appreciate the relief, while that also sort of takes away from the intentional horror, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of mixed on that.
It's whatever the filmmakers are wanting to do.
Yeah, and it's not, obviously it's not wrong, and it's open to perception. I'd give this like a weak 7. No, I take that back. I give it like a mid-set. What am I talking about? It's a 7. It's a 7.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm happy to hear that. We were all pretty strong, I think, on all of our ratings. We enjoyed watching it together. We're going to be watching Hereditary for Pastor's channel. Jeremy has been telling me to watch it for forever. I have not done it, so I have not seen it, and Matt hasn't seen it. Quite a few of us haven't seen it, so check that out over on Pastor's channel. I don't know if it'll be up at the same time as this or not, but if you enjoyed this video, leave it a like. Helps my channel out a lot. Let us know what you think. Again, consider subscribing if you want to see more fun content like this. Also, consider joining me on Patreon. It's a great way to get early access to select videos like this one. Don't forget to support today's sponsors. Supporting them helps support the channel. As always, we appreciate you watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Take care.